A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
President meets ICC representatives in Colombo. Suspects arrested over the Vanavasala train derailment, remanded. Train operations return to normal. Bribery Commission investigates fraud against the government through the import of rapid antigen test kits. A discussion chaired by the Prime Minister on the infamous mansion in Malvana tomorrow. IMF Executive Board to meet on the 27th for the 5th and 6th review of Sri Lanka's EFF program. The low-pressure system is gradually weakening. Kaluganga remains at a minor flood level. Number of affected people exceeds 5,000. Ebola deaths exceed 80. Congo and Uganda declare a public health emergency.
And now the stories in detail. A delegation of International Cricket Council representatives currently visiting Sri Lanka met with President Anurukumara Dissanayake today in Colombo.
The delegation is visiting the country to discuss the future direction of Sri Lanka cricket administration and potential structural reforms.
And the visit by ICC officials coming in the wake of recent changes in Sri Lanka cricket administration is considered significant for the future development of the sport in the country.
A delegation of International Council representatives, including Imran Khwaja and Devajit Saikia, met President Anurukumara Dissanayake in Colombo today, as discussions continue on the future direction of cricket administration in Sri Lanka. The meeting comes during the ICC officials' ongoing visit to the country at a crucial moment following recent structural changes and reform initiatives within Sri Lanka cricket. During the visit, ICC representatives also held discussions with the newly appointed Sri Lanka Cricket Transformation Committee at SLC headquarters, with particular emphasis placed on strengthening governance standards, enhancing transparency and driving structural reform within the institution. The developments follow the resignation of former Sri Lanka cricket leadership, including ex-president Shammi Silva, and the appointment of the new Sri Lanka Cricket Transformation Committee chaired by Eran Vikramaratne. The ICC visit comes at a pivotal juncture of Sri Lankan cricket, with ongoing high-level discussions expected to significantly influence the future governance and structural direction of the sport.
Meanwhile, two suspects arrested in connection with the removal of railway track components that led to the Vanavasala train derailment, as well as the purchase of the stolen material, have been remanded until the 29th of May.
They were produced before court number 5 of the Halstorf Magistrate Court complex in Colombo and subsequently ordered to be held in remand custody.
One suspect was arrested yesterday on allegations of removing lock bars and plates from the railway track.
Following further investigations, police also arrested another individual who is alleged to have purchased the removed components.
That's right, and police stated that the second arrest was made based on information revealed during the interrogation of the primary suspect involved in the removal of the railway track parts.
A train bound for Kalathura South from Polgahavila derailed between Vanavasala and Kalaniya railway stations early morning yesterday. Following the derailment, one compartment veered off the tracks and a parked vehicle nearby was also damaged in the incident. Sri Lanka Railways has now identified that the cause of the accident was the removal of a track component or a rail fitting by an unknown individual.
This train had been stopped at Vanavasala railway station and was proceeding forward when a short distance ahead there is road built leading to the Colombo Solid Waste Processing Centre. This is a link road connected to the main railway line. At the junction where the main railway line and this connecting road meet, we have found that equipment from a switch mechanism had been removed. We have identified that this is what caused the accident. As soon as this was observed, we immediately lodged a complaint with the Sri Lanka police through our officers. Following that complaint, special police investigation teams arrived at the location without delay and began their investigations. After the incident, we brought in 2 cranes to the site and re-railed the train yesterday evening. The train was then taken to Colombo. There has been damage to the train and the railway track. Passengers were affected and valuable time was also lost.
Accordingly, following investigations, police arrested a 25-year-old suspect. Police also confirmed that subsequent interrogations led to the arrest of another individual who is alleged to have purchased the stolen railway components.
Accordingly, we launched an investigation, and through that inquiry, we arrested one individual. Based on information obtained from him, we were able to identify the location where the dismantled parts were sold, as well as the person who purchased those items. And that individual was also taken into custody. It has been revealed that the cause of the incident was the removal of these parts. The suspect involved is a 25-year-old individual reportedly addicted to drugs. He had removed the iron components and sold them for around 3,000 rupees. However, the resulting damage is estimated to be in the millions. We are continuing further investigations into the matter. The arrested suspects will be produced before court. And in addition to charges under the Public Property Act, legal action will be taken regarding the extent of the damage caused. This also sends a clear message. Stealing or dismantling public property yields only a small financial gain, but causes massive losses amounting to millions. We are also prepared to extend any necessary support to Sri Lanka Railways at any time, including assistance for required operations or raids.
Restoration work along the railway line is still underway, and Sri Lanka Railways said that train services are expected to resume by tomorrow morning.
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption has commenced an investigation into a fraud committed against the government involved in the importation of rapid antigen test kits worth Rs 3.1 billion into the country through an unregistered company.
On the 19th of December 2024, Sanjay Mahawatta, the president of the Mageng Ratata organization, lodged a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption regarding the fraud committed against the government by importing rapid antigen test kits into the country. A letter addressed to Sanjay Mahawatta, signed by the Commission's Secretary KG Lanarol, states that an investigation into the relevant fraud has been initiated.
The Inter-University Students' Federation says it will continue its protest while remaining to reside at the controversial mansion located in Malvana.
Meanwhile, the situation involving these university students has drawn the attention of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, who is also serving as a Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education.
In a statement issued by the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, the Prime Minister said a discussion regarding the students' demands is scheduled to take place tomorrow under her patronage.
Students representing the Inter-University Students' Federation entered a mansion in Malvana on the 14th of May and have continued to remain at the premises as part of an ongoing protest. The group has maintained their presence at the location, which they claim is linked to their demands over public assets. The mansion was previously reported to have been owned by former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and is said to have been abandoned thereafter. The situation has now drawn the attention of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, who also holds the portfolio of Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education. Discussions regarding the students' demands are scheduled to be held tomorrow at the Prime Minister's office under her leadership, with the participation of relevant stakeholders. Further decisions are expected to be taken following the outcome of the discussions.
Today marks the fourth consecutive day of our ongoing protest within the 16-acre land in Malvana. We had planned to organize a major protest rally today, bringing together the entire state university system in the area. However, a significant development took place this morning as the Prime Minister's office issued a statement indicating that it is taking an active interest in this issue and will intervene. Following this, we have been informed that discussions will be held on Monday. We believe this shows the Prime Minister is ready to engage in resolving this matter. If there is no intervention to transfer this land to the university system and expand the state university sector, and if adequate solutions are not provided to the issues we are raising, we are prepared to escalate our actions. We have temporarily suspended our protest activities, but if necessary, we will relaunch a larger campaign on Monday by mobilizing students from all state universities. We are asking the government why such decisions are being delayed, especially when there is already a court order in place regarding this matter for several years. These are public funds belonging to the people of this country.
Student unions of several universities expressed their views during media briefings.
පෙරදින විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයට අදාළව ශිෂ්‍යයෝ 17000ක් පමණ ඉන්නවා. මේ ශිෂ්‍යයෝ 17000කින් නේවාසිකාගාර පහසුකම් හම්බෙන්නේ 8000යි.
There are around 17,000 students at the University of Peradeniya, but only 8,000 of them have access to hostel facilities. With universities such as Colombo, Sri Jayawardhanapura, Kalaniya and other institutions in and around Colombo expanding their accommodation facilities. The shortage of space at the University of Peradeniya has become even more severe. As a result, students are still camping on this land. On behalf of the Inter-University Students Federation, we are requesting that this land be allocated for educational purposes, such as the construction of a faculty complex or additional hostel facilities, and we urge the government to take immediate action.
Meanwhile, students at the Rajrat University have also expressed support for the movement, highlighting the ongoing shortage of student accommodation facilities.
Rajarat University currently has around 8,000 students. However, although it is a fully residential university, hostel facilities are available for only about 4,000 students.
කොළඹ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල සිසුන් පවසන්නේ මේ බලපෑම සිසුන්ගේ නේවාසික ගැටලුව විසඳීමට බවයි.
Students of Colombo say that this move is aimed at addressing students' hostel accommodation issues.
More than 16,000 students are currently studying at the University of Colombo, but fewer than 4,000 are provided with hostel facilities. This is mainly due to severe space limitations faced by universities located in suburban areas such as the University of Colombo. The university still lacks basic infrastructure including an open-air theatre, adequate lecture halls, with only around 700 students able to be accommodated in a single lecture session. The 5 faculties on the main campus are confined to a very small area of about 9 acres. While acknowledging that the government has taken some positive steps, such as increasing the Mahapola scholarships, the core issue of space has still not been resolved. As a result, the Inter-University Students Federation and the Students' Union of the University of Colombo have also decided to surround the Malvana residents in order to pressure the government to address these concerns.
Meanwhile, a person claiming to be the construction contractor of the Malvana mansion in question, which is said to have no owner, convened a media briefing today.
I am a leading construction contractor in Sri Lanka. A person named Mudita Jayakodi one day made a request to me urging me to build a house for his friend. We carried out this construction. All the payments for this construction were made through this person named Mudita Jayakodi. A good house, enough for a super VIP to reside. This is a land that has come down from generations, a land that has come from a famous generation. He had strategically deployed people and made all the plans to acquire this land. The house is about 8,000 square feet in total. He said that when the super VIP comes to reside, he needs to be protected, and therefore requested for an underground bunker to be constructed at the house. At one point, there was a rumor circulating that this house was connected to a certain politician. When I heard the rumor, I immediately told him that I cannot continue this construction as I do not want to work with politicians. I asked him to return my money spent on the construction. Thereafter, he reduced the 33 million bill to 11 million rupees based on his own preference and issued me a check for 11 million rupees. The government at the time assisted him in doing this.
Meanwhile, a group led by former private secretary to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Sugishwara Bandara, lodged a complaint at the Dompe police station demanding the immediate removal of students who are occupying the mansion in Malwana.
අන්තර් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ශිෂ්‍ය බල මණ්ඩලයයි කියා ගන්නා ශිෂ්‍යෝ පිරිසක්
Members of the Inter-University Students' Federation responded to accusations made by opposition groups regarding the students staying at the mansion in Malwana, which is reportedly not claimed by any owner.
The opposition really ought to be worried about this. Why? Because we know who actually owned this land. Even though it was said to have belonged to Basil, we know, and it is an open secret across the entire country, who the real owner is. They used various fraudulent tactics to fund their personal consumption using the tax money of the country's citizens. In the end, when they had nowhere left to turn, these properties were vested with the government. If they think that because this place was left unused for a long time, people will just forget about it and no one will use it, they are mistaken. They probably think that once they come into power in the future, they can take a backdoor route again and reclaim it for personal use. From what we can see, the opposition is currently suffering from the distress of not being able to execute that exact plan. Therefore, what we have to say to both the opposition and the government is that we have launched this struggle to expand universities. The factor that consistently stands out to us is that the opposition is panicking precisely because this is Basil's land. When we piece the events together, this fact becomes undeniably clear. So it is no surprise that this opposition is panicking. They are fighting because they are waiting to once again enjoy these properties which were wrongfully funded by the tax money of the public by their political leaders and the political leaders they follow. Therefore, when it comes to the politics of the opposition, these actions are hardly surprising.
This is extreme weather.
The Department of Meteorology says that the low-pressure system north of Sri Lanka is gradually weakening.
The Met Department said that due to the influence of this system, several areas may still experience further rainfall.
The Department of Meteorology stated that thunder showers may continue to occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central, northwestern and northern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers are likely in the Uba and East provinces as well as the Polonnaru district after around 1 p.m. Wind speeds in the sea areas off the coasts from Kankasanture to Puttalam, Colombo, Galle and from Hambantota to Pothuwil are expected to increase up to 50 to 55 kilometers per hour.
Water levels in rivers.
The Kalungaga continues to be at minor flood level in the Millakanda area. The Department of Irrigation stated that the water level in the Attanagalu area in Dunamale is decreasing. The Bulatsingal Molkava main road is underwater from the Atamagas Handya and Paragoda areas due to the overflow of the Kalu River. The Bulatsingal Kaluthara road is also underwater in Diakaduwa. The Gampa Ganemula main road is underwater from the Mapilan Gamua area due to the overflow of the Attanagalu area.
Are landslide warnings still in effect?
Landslide warnings remain in effect for divisional secretariat divisions across 13 districts including Badulla, Colombo, Galle, Gampaha, Kalutara, Kandy, Kegol, Kurunegala, Matale, Matara, Munragala, Nurelia and Ratnapura. Level 2 landslide warnings have been issued for 27 divisional secretariat divisions in 6 districts of Colombo, Gaul, Kalutara, Kandy, Kurunegala and Ratnapura. The National Building Research Organization warns residents in these areas to remain vigilant for possible landslides and rockfalls.
People affected by the adverse weather.
5,242 people belonging to 1,574 families have been affected by the adverse weather conditions that have affected the island. The number of affected districts are 14. The Disaster Management Center stated that 192 partial damage to houses were reported. 162 people belonging to 52 families have been relocated to 5 safe shelters. 2 deaths caused by the adverse weather conditions have also been reported.
This is Extreme Weather.
The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund is scheduled to meet on the 27th of May. Now, the meeting will focus on the 5th and 6th reviews of Sri Lanka's Extended Fund Facility Programme.
The International Monetary Fund has set 27th of May 2026 for its Executive Board to decide on the 5th and 6th reviews of Sri Lanka's Extended Fund Facility Programme, a move that could unlock roughly $700 million in much-needed financing. If the board approves both reviews, Sri Lanka will become eligible to draw the 6th and 7th tranches under the IMF arrangement. Julie Kozak, director of the IMF Communications Department, recently said that several prior actions had to be completed before the program could be presented to the board. These included restoring cost recovery pricing for electricity and fuel, while also ensuring protection for vulnerable groups, as well as completing the financing assurances review.
Samagi Janabalawege, Member of Parliament, Dr. Harsha De Silva, has held discussions with senior officials of the State Department of the United States. The meeting took place during his ongoing visit to the United States.
Meanwhile, in a social media post, Dr. Harsha De Silva stated that he held private discussions with former US ambassadors to Sri Lanka, Atul Keshap and Julie Chung. Atul Keshap currently serves as the president of the US-India Business Council, while Julie Chung is currently serving at the United States Department of State.
The Western Province Governor Hanif Yusuf says that he is focusing greater attention on attracting foreign direct investments and contributing to the country's national development in line with the President's vision.
Issuing a statement, Hanif Yusuf said that he has decided to step down from one of the 2 positions that he currently holds. The statement further specifies that he will continue to serve in his role as the President's Special Envoy on foreign direct investments. The statement adds that with the intention of balancing his family responsibilities, he has informed the President of his resignation from the post of Governor of the Western Province. Hanif Yusuf's statement also notes that he will continue to function in the position of Governor of the Western Province until a suitable successor is appointed by the President.
People's Bank has disclosed that a technical issue within one of its foreign remittance platforms resulted in customers receiving excess payments over an extended period of time.
According to the statement, the error occurred between May 2023 and March 2026. The bank said it recently identified that some customers had received incorrect amounts due to a mistake in converting exchange rates from one currency unit to another during that period. It further stated that the issue has now been fully rectified. Upon detection, the bank immediately launched an internal investigation and is continuing further inquiries in line with instructions from regulatory and supervisory authorities, including the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The estimated financial impact of the error is around 656 million rupees. However, the bank notes that since the amount has already been reflected in the financial statements of the relevant period, no additional financial impact is expected based on current estimates. People's Bank also said the process of recovering overpaid amounts from affected customers is already underway. It added that all banking operations, including digital services and customer facilities, are functioning normally. The bank emphasized that as a financially strong institution with assets of about 3.8 trillion rupees, the incident will not affect its financial stability, profitability, or the safety of customer deposits.
The Colombo Grand Mosque has announced that Muslims in Sri Lanka will mark Hajj on the 28th of May.
The Colombo Grand Mosque and the Moon Sighting Committee confirmed that the crescent moon for the month of Dhul Hijjah, the 12th and final month of the Islamic lunar calendar, has not been sighted in Sri Lanka today, and therefore the 19th of May will mark the first day of Hajj or Eid al-Adha, coincides with the annual Hajj pilgrimage to Makkah in Saudi Arabia.
Well, what's happening in the Middle East?
Iran says it will soon reveal its plan to manage traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, including the charging of tolls, as Trump warns Tehran it will have a very bad time if a peace deal is not reached soon.
That's right, and Vinuja Senviratne is ready to bring us the latest details on this and more from the international arena. Over to you, Vinuja.
Well, yes, Arundhati and Sandro, in the latest developments from the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is expected to speak with the US President today, adding that he anticipates updates on President Trump's visit to China, along with discussions on Iran. Meanwhile, Iran's Tasnim news agency reports that Speaker of the Consultative Assembly, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, has been appointed Special Envoy to China. With that, let's now turn on to the latest developments.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is planning to speak to US President Donald Trump today. Netanyahu added that he is expected to hear about the US President's trip to China as well as having a discussion on Iran. Amidst this situation, Speaker of the Consultative Assembly of Iran, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, has been appointed Special Envoy to China. Iran's Tasnim news agency said Ghalibaf will serve as a coordinator of various national bodies in matters related to China. The appointment was proposed by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and approved by Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Meanwhile, Iran says it will soon unveil its plan to charge tolls for ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian legislator Ibrahim Azizi said the plan involves a professional mechanism to manage traffic in the Strait of Hormuz along a designated route. He said, quote-unquote, only commercial vessels and parties cooperating with Iran will benefit from the plan and fees will be collected for specialized services. However, Iranian First Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref said the country will not allow enemy military equipment to pass through the strait. Ali Nighzad, Deputy Parliament Speaker, said earlier that Iran's legal regime for the waterway takes into account Tehran's conditions, the rules of international law, and the rights of neighboring countries. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has also previously unveiled maps showing a new zone of control over the waterway and a safe route for ships to follow through the strait that is closer to its coast than traditional routes. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Iran remains ready to resume direct military conflict with the US if negotiations fail to produce acceptable results. Amid a stream of state-orchestrated messaging to both domestic and foreign audiences, Araghchi also warned that despite the damage the US-Israel war on Iran has done to the region, it is also impacting American households. US energy and inflation costs have increased significantly since the conflict began on the 28th of February, resulting in the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of the world's oil and gas is normally shipped. Araghchi wrote on X, quote-unquote, Americans are told that they must absorb rocketing costs of war of choice on Iran, coupled with an image of rising yields on US Treasury bonds. It said, quote-unquote, put aside gas price hike and stock market bubble. Real pain begins when US debt and mortgage rates start to jump. Auto loan delinquencies are already at 30-plus year high. Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani has held a phone call with Saudi FM Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, according to a statement from Doha. The two officials discussed bilateral ties and regional developments, including the ceasefire between the US and Iran, as well as de-escalation efforts, according to the statement. Sheikh Mohammed called on all parties to respond to ongoing mediation efforts to address the roots of the crisis through dialogue, aiming for a sustainable agreement that would prevent renewed escalation. Kazakhstan has delivered 30 wagons of humanitarian aid to Iran, according to Tasnim news agency, as the country continues to grapple with a severe economic crisis following months of war with the US and Israel. The shipment sent on the orders of Kazakhstan's president included canned meat, sugar, flour, medical equipment and medicine. The aid was handed over to the Iranian Red Crescent Society at the Sirasa railway station.
Now shifting your attention to the war between Russia and Ukraine. At least 5 people have been killed after Ukraine launched what Russian officials described as one of the largest drone barrages of the war, sending waves of unmanned aircraft towards Moscow and several other regions overnight.
The Indian embassy in Russia said 1 Indian worker was killed and 3 others were injured during the drone attacks in the Moscow region. Moscow region's governor said that a woman was killed after a drone slammed into a house in Khiminki, north of Moscow. He added that apartment buildings and infrastructure sites were damaged in the attacks. Rescue workers were searching the rubble for another possible victim, while 2 other men were killed in the village of Pogorelki and another person died in Belgorod near the Ukrainian border. Russia's Ministry of Defense said it intercepted 556 drones overnight and into this morning, with another 30 drones shot down after dawn.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has announced a global health emergency. This time, the concern is growing Ebola outbreak that is connected to the rare Bundibugyo strain of the virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda.
The World Health Organization has declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda, a public health emergency of international concern. The WHO said the outbreak caused by the Bundibugyo virus does not meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency. Issuing a statement, the WHO said the determination of a public health emergency of international concern, including a pandemic emergency of the international health regulations, the Director General of the World Health Organization, after having consulted the states parties where the event is known to be currently occurring, is hereby determining that the Ebola disease caused by the Bundibugyo virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda constitutes a public health emergency of international concern, but does not meet the criteria of pandemic emergency as defined by the IHR. The UN Health Agency said 80 suspected deaths, 8 laboratory confirmed cases and 246 cases had been reported as of Saturday in DRC's Ituri province across at least 3 health zones, including Bunia, Rwampara and Mongbalu. According to the statement, the event constitutes a public health risk to other states' parties through the international spread of disease. International spread has already been documented, with 2 confirmed cases reported in Kampala, Uganda on the 15th and 16th of May following travel from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Both confirmed cases were admitted to intensive care units in Kampala. Neighboring countries sharing land borders with the Democratic Republic of the Congo are considered at high risk for further spread due to the population mobility, trade and travel linkages, and ongoing epidemiological uncertainty. The spread prompted the Africa CDC to warn of active community transmission as health workers race to intensify screening and contact tracing to contain the disease. Ebola is highly contagious and can be contracted through bodily fluids such as vomit, blood, or semen. The disease it causes is rare but severe and often fatal. Officials first announced the latest outbreak in Congo on Friday with 65 deaths and 246 suspected cases.
Now coming to London, a far-right activist rally in central London has drawn tens of thousands of supporters, with organisers claiming millions attended, while police estimates placed turns around 60,000. The event, led by Tommy Robinson, also saw inflammatory rhetoric, political messaging and a heavy police presence across the capital.
At least tens of thousands gathered again in London yesterday for the latest Unite the Kingdom march organised by Tommy Robinson, a British political activist. Tommy Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, addressed supporters during the second Unite the Kingdom march in London, telling the crowd to prepare for what he called a Battle of Britain and urging people to become politically active ahead of the next general election. He further went on to describe the rally as a turning point for Britain.
We weathered the storm, and today we are the storm.
Robinson called for crowds to get involved in politics, including by registering to vote and joining a political party. Robinson also led chants of support for the ex-owner Elon Musk, one of his best-known supporters. He said, quote, "None of this would have happened if it wasn't for one man. Thank you, Elon, on behalf of Great Britain." End quote. Organisers claimed millions attended the demonstration, while police estimated the number of participants at around 60,000, down from the last year's reported 150,000. The event saw speeches and the distribution of flyers containing nationalist messaging. The Metropolitan Police deployed around 4,000 officers across the protest and a separate demonstration, with total policing costs estimated at £4.5 million. Authorities confirmed 43 arrests were made and said both protests largely passed without significant incident.
On to more international news, a rescue diver has died while searching for the bodies of a group of Italians who died in scuba diving accident in the Maldives. According to foreign media, Staff Sergeant Mohammed Mahdi was taken to hospital in critical condition and later succumbed to his injuries. Let's take a look at these details.
5 Italians died while attempting to explore cave at a depth of around 50 meters on Thursday. Foreign media reported that so far the body of one of them is thought to have been recovered in a cave at a depth of around 60 meters. The rescue diver who went on the rescue operation has also died while searching for the bodies of the group of divers. The incident is believed to be the worst single diving accident in the tiny Indian Ocean nation, a popular tourist destination because of its string of coral islands. 4 of the 5 divers were part of a University of Genoa research team, which included renowned marine biologist and Professor Monica Montefalcone. Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu travelled to Wau Atoll yesterday to observe the search operations. The 5 had entered the water at Wau Atoll on Thursday morning, according to local media, and were reported missing when they failed to resurface later on. Police said the weather was rough in the area, about 100 kilometers south of the capital, Male. A yellow warning was issued for passenger boats and fishermen. Recreational scuba divers were only allowed to dive up to a depth of 30 meters, and it was not clear why the Italians went into a cave that's 60 meters underwater. Italy's foreign ministry said earlier that another 20 Italian nationals aboard the Duke of York yacht, from which the 5 divers took off, were unharmed and receiving assistance from the Embassy of Italy in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Bring to you some entertainment news from the international arena. Bulgarian pop star Dara has won the Eurovision Song Contest with her pneumatic dance anthem Banga Ranga. The 27-year-old topped both the public and the jury vote in a nail-biting conclusion, soaring ahead of Israel in second and Romania in third to score a massive 516 points.
Bulgaria has won the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest after singer Dara swept a victory with the song Banga Ranga. The 27-year-old singer's triumph is the first victory in the 70-year history of the song contest for Bulgaria, which only joined Eurovision in 2005 and sat out the last 3 editions. Described by its performer as pop music with folklore bones, Banga Ranga is a pulsating party anthem inspired by kukeri, an ancient Bulgarian ritual where men roam through villages dressed in furry costumes with bells and animal masks. The precise meaning of Banga Ranga became one of the running jokes of the night. Singer Dara said, Banga Ranga is a special energy that everyone has got in themselves, a feeling that everything is possible. Bulgaria's surprise win means the European Broadcasting Union and other participating broadcasters will be spared a major headache. Had second-placed Israel won, organizers would have faced difficult questions over where to host the Song Contest's 2027 edition. The 70th anniversary of the musical extravaganza took place in Vienna after Austria's operatic contestant JJ triumphed last year. About 10,000 spectators watched the show at Vienna's Wiener Stadtteil venue, with an expected TV audience in excess of 100 million. It was the third time the Alpine Republic has hosted the event. The grand final saw the acts representing 25 countries, with Bulgaria, Moldova and Romania returning after being absent in previous years.
Taking a look at other local stories, medical experts warn that bone marrow transplant patients remain at risk if post-treatment advice is not properly followed. The remarks were made during a seminar on patient safety and post-transplant care in relation to bone marrow transplants was held yesterday in Colombo.
A special awareness program focusing on post-bone marrow transplant care and patient safety aimed at educating patients, caregivers and the public on long-term recovery and infection prevention was held in Colombo yesterday. The event was organized with the participation of leading local and international specialists in hematology and transplant medicine.
Bone marrow transplantation is in fact conventionally is one of the oldest immunotherapy modalities that we use. The drugs and medicines doctors, they do only that much. It's very true. And I keep telling patients with exactly the same disease, the same stage, the same doctor, the same protocol, outcomes are not same, right? So the patient's active involvement, number one, and the host of non-medical things which we have less respect for. I say breathing exercise, meditation, yoga, making sure the muscles are activated. Muscle health is extremely important. The bone health is extremely important. And somehow those patients who do this, who are very positive, who are engaging, who continue to have a positive outlook, invariably do well compared to those who go into a shell, are not moving out of their bed.
The awareness initiative concluded with a call for improved patient education, stronger post-transplant care systems and better access to advanced treatments within Sri Lanka's healthcare sector.
Sri Lanka officially secured a Guinness World Record for creating the world's longest sensory board. The record-breaking installation was displayed for public viewing at the BMICH over 2 days, with today marking the final day of the exhibition.
The campaign involving the world's longest sensory board, which began as an awareness campaign, has now grown into a national movement promoting autism awareness. Speaking on the achievement, Dr. Anton James, the founder of the Treehouse International and the visionary behind Merak, said the long-term goal is to ensure that at least one person in every household understands autism.
This project, what we did today, it took us about 21 months to complete. In the second pathway, we actually attracted the younger generation and who are environmentalists and who are cared about the environment. We cleaned the beach in Vallavata and we used the plastic that we collected to recycle and attach them as a sensory item. The third pathway, we included an art component to this sensory board. And the Guinness World Record judge, when he issued the certificate, he said he has never seen, actually the Guinness World has never received such a record.
Today marked the second and final public viewing day of the record-breaking sensory board at the BMICH, where visitors were able to experience the installation firsthand.
The Kingswood College Old Scouts Association organised a community cycling ride yesterday to promote cycling for health and sustainable transportation. The event commenced from the school premises under the patronage of the principal with the participation of over 200 cyclists.
The cycling ride themed Randall's Pedals began from Kingswood College premises following the official launch by the principal. Over 200 participants joined the initiative, which proceeded from the school grounds into the Candy Town. The riders then moved along a designated route covering Gatambe, Peradeniya and Gannorua before concluding the ride near the school. According to the Kingswood College Old Scouts Association, the event was organised with the primary objectives of promoting cycling for a healthier lifestyle and raising awareness on utilising the bicycle as an alternative mode of daily transportation. The event concluded successfully near the school premises. Sirasa TV and YFM were official media partners of the event.
Sandru, what's the latest coming from the sports arena today?
Well, Arundhati, I think we have some headline-making stories coming from the rugby arena. Let's now cross over to Stevin for the updates.
Yes, thank you very much, Sandru and Arundhati. Now, taking a look at the sports arena for today, the finals of the Central and South Asian Rugby Sevens Championship, or the CASA Sevens, was held in Uzbekistan today. Now, Sri Lanka emerged victorious in both the men's and women's categories at the tournament, which featured the participation from 7 countries. Let's take a look.
Sri Lanka qualified unbeaten for the finals of the Central and South Asian Rugby Sevens Championship. Sri Lanka claimed victory in a match played against India in the men's final. Delivering a dominant performance, the Sri Lankan team defeated India 31-10 to clinch the title. Meanwhile, the women's final was played between Kazakhstan and Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan women's team secured a comfortable victory in the match, defeating Kazakhstan with 27 points to nil. Accordingly, Sri Lanka also claimed the women's championship title at the tournament.
For the conversion, and it's good. Lanka are all victorious in this.
Veteran Sri Lankan journalist and political analyst D.P.S. Jayaraj has passed away. Renowned for his deeply insightful columns, Jayaraj was known for his in-depth reporting, political analysis and decades-long contribution to journalism.
Jayaraj was born on the 21st of May 1954. He was educated at St. Thomas's Preparatory School and Jaffna College. Jayaraj's journalism career began in April 1977 as a staff reporter for the Tamil language Veera Kesari. He worked as the paper's correspondent in Batticaloa. He moved to the English language, The Island, in November 1981. Initially, he reported on trade union and customs issues but was later assigned to cover Tamil politics and militancy. He also wrote the popular Behind the Cadron Curtain column for its sister newspaper, The Sunday Island. He was deputy editor of the Saturday Review for a period and Colombo correspondent for The Hindu. He applied for the Nieman Fellowship at Harvard University and left Sri Lanka on the 14th of September 1988. He continued to write articles for Sri Lankan newspapers and also ran his news blog dbsjayraj.com.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us.
Do take care and good night.